All right, how's it going, everybody? So today I'm going to do a live stream just to talk a little bit about the Northwest Astrological Conference, which is actually beginning today. So the conference, I think, is going to open just in like 30 minutes here. And this is both a conference that's happening in person with a bunch of different people attending from around the world, this conference that's happening in Seattle. But then it's also being streamed simultaneously online. That was actually one of the cool things that happened during the pandemic is initially in 2020, the conference had to switch like entirely to online because the conference happened in like May of 2020 when everything was still essentially in lockdown. So that was really rough, but a good side effect of that is they were forced to experiment with doing the conference entirely online at that time. So as a result of that, once they actually started doing the conference in person again, they started doing both in-person conferences as well as online conferences at the same time. So this is the beginning. It looks like the live chat's just getting started. Thanks everyone for joining me in the live chat on YouTube. I'll be paying attention to that. Let me open that up. So real quickly, you can find out more information about the conference. Here's the speaker list, the 40th annual Northwest Astrological Conference. You can find out more information at NORWAC.net is the website, because you can actually still sign up now. And if you do go there and sign up, be sure to put in the comments that you heard about the conference from the Astrology Podcast live stream today. All right, so people are just streaming in here to the live chat. Let me check that out. Everyone's joining us on YouTube. It looks like a bunch of patrons. I announced this to my patrons of the Astrology Podcast. Hello to all the patrons that joined us, are joining me today. So I was curious in the chat how many people are going to be attending NORWAC online. So for myself, I have been dealing with health issues ever since I got COVID a few years ago with long COVID that makes me not really in a good position health-wise to travel. So unfortunately, I can't be there in person. Otherwise, I would be. But I'm excited to attend the conference online this weekend over the next 3 days and still be able to watch many of the lectures and see some of the new up-and-coming speakers in our community. Perhaps scope out some potential people for interviews in future episodes of the Astrology Podcast. But I was curious if there's other people like me that are going to be attending online. So if you're already planning on attending virtually, let me know in the live chat. Looks like Vivi is attending virtually. Awesome. Good to hear. Yeah, so I don't know. Can I make a poll? Do they do polls? Oh yeah, let's see. Let me start a poll. Are you attending NORWAC online? Yes or no? All right, there we go. Let's try this poll. I'm still very new to live streaming, so thanks for that suggestion. I didn't even know I could run polls here. So let me know. I'm just curious. I'm sure, obviously the majority of people are going to be saying no, that they're not attending. Maybe they don't even know about or hadn't heard about it up till now, but I'm curious just how many people actually are. All right. So there's the poll going. Yeah, so this is going to be a bit of an experimental live stream. The conference is actually opening, I think, in about, 20 minutes, 30 minutes at, I think it's 1:45 my time. They're going to do the opening sort of welcome ceremony as well as the opening keynote lecture. So this is actually the 40th annual Northwest Astrological Conference. So they've been doing it for 40 years, which is wild. It actually started in 1984, which was the year I was born. So NORWAC is only slightly older than I am, but it was my first astrological conference that I attended, actually volunteered at way back in 2005. And that was right around when I was living in Seattle for Kepler College. and I volunteered to help them set up the bookstore there because they have this just amazing bookstore in person. So I think NORWAC was a lot of people's first astrology conference, so it always ends up sort of holding a special place in different people's hearts, in terms of just remembering the first time that you met up with a bunch of different astrologers in person and the sort of excitement surrounding that when you can speak the same language to other people in person, because astrology really is a language that we all speak or that we learn and become fluent in, but it's a language that not a lot of people know. And even if they do know it, they may only know the basics. And so there's a much smaller percentage of like the population or just everyday people you'll meet on the street that actually know the more advanced, complex language of astrology and can speak it fluently. So when you actually meet a bunch of those people at once at a conference, it can be kind of an eye-opening experience. All right. So some people are attending for one day. That's good. Yeah, I forgot that you can actually sign up for one day just to attend online. And then I know they're going to be doing some more social events and stuff. And Nicholas Polimenakos, who I saw in the chat earlier, is going to be hosting some stuff to interview speakers during the course of the week. Nicholas says he can join me. Okay, how can I get you in the room? Let me send you a link, Nicholas, to, I will email it to you, and maybe you can be my first live interview here real quick. All right, so let me find that. In the meantime, let me know other people if you're planning on attending NORWAC, and specifically I'm curious what lectures people are excited about attending. There's a few I have on my list. There's a few tough ones where there's going to be two that I want to see at the same time, but I'm happy that by buying the ticket that I was able to get access to the recordings afterwards. So that's a pretty big bonus. All right. So all right, so let me find a way to get Nicholas in here. Okay, here we go. So this is a bit of an experiment, everyone, so give me a second. Nicholas, I'm sending you a Zoom link to your Gmail address, which you should have now. Let me know when you get it, and I'll try to patch you in for a little brief interview with somebody that's on the ground at NORWAC right now. And if I can, I'll see if I can do other interviews or different things. All right. So Chelsea says they were lucky enough to attend ESAR last year, and that was your first conference. That was a great first conference then. That was the one that was here in Colorado. I really liked that hotel, and there were just so many speakers. Okay, there's Nicholas. Hey, hold on just a sec. Let me figure out how to fully patch you in. Okay, Zoom. There we go. For some reason it's muted. Let me figure out how to unmute you. You're not muted on your side, are you?
Give me a second.
Now I can hear you.
You can hear me? Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Does it sound decent?
It sounds good. Let me see. Is this coming through? Let me know in the live chat. There might be a little delay, like a 30-second delay before people are
Right.
able to respond. But let me know in the live chat if you can hear and see Nicholas okay. And this will be our first little live stream interview.
Uh,
Oh, yeah, they're confirming. All right, we are on. Hey,
all right.
buddy. You were there.
Oh,
You were in the thick of it. You were helping to run this conference in person.
Well, I'm minor stuff this year, but yeah, it's their family, you know. So speaking to what you said earlier, uh for the virtual people who are watching and will watch, I'm helping with the Q&As in between lecture tracks. So speakers will be available for 30 minutes. I kind of create the rooms along with Laura. And then
Nice.
tomorrow night on Saturday, at the end of the night while people are partying, Laura kind of gave me free reign a little bit. And so I'm going to try to grab some people and just talk
Nice.
uh, Saturday night. So that's what I'm doing here.
So those
That's
will
one.
be streamed, and people will be able to access those links once they sign in to like the NORWAC website for attendees.
Yes, that's what's happening there. So that's what's going on. I just got into my room. I was waiting to do that. Interestingly, in the elevator, I didn't know any of the faces in there. And the question I ask is this your first time? And 70% was first time, and there was a couple people that was their second time. So just giving you a little bit of the vibe, just getting in the elevator.
Nice. Yeah, so many people have joined the astrological community just in the past few years that I'm sure there's still a lot of people where they're still pretty new to conferences.
Yes, Chris, and this is something we're seeing of astrologers of all levels that we know many people jumped in pre-COVID into COVID, and I think are hungry for the in-person, face-to-face interaction. So that's a big part of this conference and the popularity, but not just here. I think people in their own communities are wanting to do meetups and form meetups, and I encourage that, by the way. So that's a big thing, the face-to-face.
Nice. Awesome. So when does the opening lecture starts in like 10 minutes?
The opening ceremony is in about 10 minutes, and that's a
Okay.
big tradition here. Every Laura brings it in. There's going to be a talk. People they do this ritual. We all hold hands and we face the directions. I know you know this, Chris. And
Holding
then
hands is
after
my favorite part.
is your favorite thing. Yeah, we
Yeah,
know how warm and cuddly Aquarius risings are, Chris.
exactly.
So yeah.
So
So
go ahead.
so I had to do that. I have to, Chris. Just
Right.
it's like
Well,
in person. I would do
somebody,
this in person.
two lucky people at each conference would get the pleasure of like holding my hands like each time when that circle was made at each conference. So I don't know who those people were, but they're very lucky.
Yes, yes, the energy surging through you. So,
Exactly.
but yeah, there's that, and then there's the opening lecture that comes after that. And once that opening lecture is there with the theme of opening, then we get into the first lecture track here of the afternoon, and there's two on the Friday. And so that's where we're doing in the next few hours. And I just came from downstairs. I just checked in my room. The vendors are all setting up. Saw the Mountain Astrologer table there, the ESAR table, which I'm there with ESAR this year, NCGR, the OPA, a bunch of other vendor tables, and people streaming in and checking in right now too. So
That would be
that,
amazing to get like a shot of like a live shot of the conference or of the bookstore at some point if you feel like it. I'd love to show people like what it looks like there right now.
yeah, depending on how we do this or how long you're up, I can maybe come from my phone into the Zoom from the bookshop, actually. I
That'd
think
be
I'm
cool.
cool doing that with Laura. I mean, where I'm not in the room where the actual lecture going on, but I
Right.
think I could from the bookstore and go for it. So maybe I'm here with you a little bit and I'll run down there and see if I can log in on the bookstore and if you want to try.
Yeah,
But
that'd be cool.
yeah, yeah, we could
Nice.
do that. But
So do you know what time the opening lecture is supposed to begin?
You're gonna make me look at the calendar because I
Yeah,
left my
like
program, the famous thing of losing the program they give you, which I've done already. But I'll hit up the schedule here. But the opening ceremony is pretty much now in 10 minutes, and Patricia Walsh does the opening lecture, and then 2:30 p.m. Pacific is when we start our first lecture track, which is starts out with a bang. I mean, it's just like, we got Austin, Kopic, Jason, Holly, Rose Marcus, Faye Cochran, Colin Bedell, for some of you who know who's there, who's a brilliant astrologer. And also, Colin, with many astrologers who are speaking on the roster this year and in person, came through the diversity scholarships, one of the early ones that NORWAC did. And some of the speakers that we have today came through those scholarships that the program that Laura and Sam created, Sam
Mm,
Reynolds.
right, and now they're like speaking at the conference.
Yep. Yep.
Nice,
So
that's incredible. Yeah, that was really good work Sam did over many years, and it's really changed the astrological community in the process.
yeah, you see the remnants today. I had a conversation with somebody last night who was a Saturn and Pisces return person, right? And they were here because they felt represented, but in a sense of who they are. They were represented and felt represented by some speaking on the panel, and that's why they showed up. You know, and
Nice.
so that's how it works, and that's how it should be, right? So,
So here's the schedule. There it is. So this is the schedule. There's the opening with Patricia Walsh. We already did pre-conference workshops earlier this morning, and then yeah, the opening lectures get started right away at 2:30 Pacific. So what is that? That's like 2 hours from now, Mountain Time.
anybody watching too, you're thinking, well, can I do this? You could go to the website right now and register. Even if you were to miss part of the weekend, you pay for the register, and then you got 2 weeks to watch every single lecture within not the pre and post conferences, those are separate, but you can attend after and watch, but you can jump in live. I can't remember if you could buy day passes. I think you could, if you only wanted
Yeah,
to do a certain day. I
I
know
just
a
got
lot of
mine.
people. Go
I just
ahead.
got mine yesterday, and I think you can. So here's the website. It's norwac.net if anybody wants to sign up, and let them know that you heard about it on the Astrology Podcast live stream if you do sign up today. I just bought my ticket yesterday. I'm pretty excited, though, to attend some of the lectures online. So you guys will have the webcam and the microphone set up, and you'll be taking some live questions even from people attending online.
Yeah, the premise, even for each individual lecture, is there's a room monitor helping the speaker, and we're trying to have this thing for at least one of the questions that someone were to ask during, or many speakers take questions after Q&As, right? That one of them's coming from one of our virtual audience, and we have a room monitor there that's facilitating that, and trying to work with the speaker to include, those online, to have more immersive interactions. So.
Yeah, I love this as a tech guy, just like the challenge of like learning and integrating these new technologies and the interface between like the digital world and the in-person world and finding the meeting point between those two is really cool to me, and it's cool how you guys are trying to tackle some of those issues to bridge the gap there.
Yeah, yeah, and Aaron Albanian, which is Laura Albanian's son, he takes care of the video stuff too. For those also, who are watching virtually, they have live transcriptions going on the bottom of the screen for those in different parts of the community, along with the stuff that you and I are talking about, Chris, right now. And the experiment I'm going to try tomorrow night, of like bringing people in randomly at a table or wherever I'm going to be. I have to figure that out, but to see if it could be done, and try to bring the vibe a little bit in virtually, right?
Nice.
But let me say thing one here, because those who have purchased know that on Saturday night, our Samantha, who's helping with the online stuff with NORWAC, is throwing a virtual masquerade party on Saturday night before I come on. And so the people online are already kind of creating their own little party as virtual members and interactions with the conference.
Wow, that's awesome. A virtual masquerade ball.
Yeah, I forget if it's like, I think to your rising sign, like you would dress as your rising sign. I can't remember what it is. So Chris, what is it going to be? Aquarius rising. What are you going to do, dude?
Right. I need to work on that. Maybe something like a robot or something like that, like robot head.
Yes, yes, a robot head. You
Yeah.
could talk in staccato, a voice or something, but
Right.
uh,
I like that.
make, anyway, yeah.
Um,
But that's the vibe right now. I'm gonna head back down there, and definitely join an opening ceremony. I know you're gonna be up on here for a little bit, and then I'm going to I'll try to jump in and chat. And if I am in the bookstore, I'm like, Chris, I could do this, right? Then I'll try to get in, and we'll see if we could pull it off. Okay.
okay, cool. Yeah, just text me anytime.
Okay. Cool.
All right. Good
Well,
luck
all right,
this weekend.
everybody. I didn't. Yeah, I will. And then I haven't looked at the chat, but I see some people I know in the chat here, and uh, thanks you guys. Good to see you all. And I'm gonna do my Mercury thing, okay?
All right. Go be Mercury and run around the conference and do all the things.
Yes, and do all the things.
All right.
All
Good
right,
luck, my friend.
well, all right, Chris, I'll see you.
All right. Bye. All right. That was awesome. So that was my first interview. I have never patched somebody in a live stream to do an interview before, but that actually worked out pretty well. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining in the live stream. It looks like we have a pretty good group here. I'm just talking about the Northwest Astrological Conference for people that are just joining us, which is just starting. They're about to start the opening ceremony in just a few minutes here. And then Patricia Walsh is going to give the opening keynote lecture, and then they're immediately going to transition into all of the lectures are going to start immediately after that. Let me look at the schedule. It looks like the schedule for the first set of lectures, if I share that, is going to be Colin Bedell, Media Training for Astrologers, Austin Kopic, Two Astrologies, Six Strengths, Jason Hawley, Reimagining Mental Health Through Astrology, Rose Marcus, Retrograde Planets, nice, and Faye Cochran, Solar Return in Vibrational Astrology. So right out the bat, you got some pretty solid lectures happening. So that's exciting. It looks like the poll, let's see what the poll results were. Okay, I'm going to end the poll. And I think it showed that the poll results were like something like 15% of you are planning on attending. So that's actually way higher than I was expecting and is pretty cool. So for those that hadn't heard about it or just coming in, you can still sign up for the Northwest Astrology Conference because it's also being streamed online. And that's what I'm going to be watching over the next 3 days is watching the lectures online. And if you sign up now, mention in the comments that you heard about it on the Astrology Podcast live stream, doing kind of an experiment here to sort of simultaneously live stream a conference and talk about it while it's happening in person and virtually online. So what I think I asked earlier, but I didn't see all the responses, but what lectures are people really looking forward to watching this week? I'm kind of curious which ones are drawing people's interests and which ones are like that lecture that you really want to make sure that you see this weekend, even if you can't make it to all of them. I know Austin has some great ones this weekend. Let me look through the rest of the schedule. Oh yeah, Ryan Butler's one on talismans looks really good. Actually, I'm not even going to read through because I don't want to pick favorites, but I am curious what other lectures people are attending. I know Joy in the comments says, I wish I could see all of them. And that is one of the trickiest things is, unfortunately, you can't see all of them. You've got to like make that choice. And sometimes there'll be a slot where there's like 2 or 3 lectures that you want to see and you end up having to pick one. One of the things I like about the digital conference, though, is that you do get access to the recordings afterwards as part of the package. So that makes it a little bit better than it used to be, where if you're just attending in person, you've got to just go with one. Now you can watch some of the recordings afterwards, even if you missed one. All right. Amber Lee says she's attending Austin's Six Strengths and Demetra's 10th House lecture. That 10th House lecture of Demetra's does sound like it's going to be good. I heard some background info on that when she was preparing, so that was pretty exciting. And Angel Phillips says it's starting. All right, so let me see. Laura said I might be able to stream just a little bit of it online. I don't know if the actual audio will transfer through, but let me see what happens if I do try to like attend a lecture here. All right, so I'm going to attend while I'm going to try to log in while people are letting me know what lectures they're planning on attending. All right. Looks like Laura is speaking and it's getting started. Check the chat. Emerging through, it says the 12th house and the 8th house is always struggling with the subconscious issues with chart readings. Is that a lecture? Is that a general point? All right, it looks like Laura has introduced Patricia Walsh. I don't know if there's having issues with the sound. Yeah, there's some sound issues. All right, let me... Can I share this screen? All right, let me... All right. So Patricia's doing the opening lecture right now, and they're doing the opening sort of invocation of the entire conference. So I'm trying to see if I can do any sort of rebroadcast. All right, so check the live chat. So everyone's attending virtually right now. The opening ceremony is happening. I would like to keep doing a live stream, but maybe I should attend and like listen to the lecture, and I'll keep this live chat up while I'm here hanging out and watching it. But maybe I'll go in and out of actually being active, but otherwise I'll keep engaging in the live chat here. Let me see if I can broadcast it. Is this transferring the audio through? Let me know in the live chat if it is. No. Okay. All right. All right. I'll keep working on that. Right now, they're still just doing the opening invocation. So I can't restream all of it, but I was told that I could restream a little bit of the opening lecture. So for those not attending, I can kind of imagine what's happening right now, which is that there's about 300-ish astrologers, maybe 400 astrologers who are all in the main huge hotel room, which is like a ballroom and a keynote room. And they're opening up the conference where they do sort of this opening invocation for the weekend. And they say they sort of like open the circle, and then at the end of the conference they kind of like close the circle and end the conference. And it's always feels very like charged and very like energetic, having that many astrologers in the room and having them all there for one overarching like purpose to like meet up and talk about astrology and to learn and to teach. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing some comments on lectures as I attend. So now Laura Nalbandian, the leader of the conference, the head organizer, is getting up and telling people about sort of some of the rules and stuff for the conference and like basic information. So Laura is the daughter of the founder of the conference, Maggie Nalbandian, who started the Northwest Astrological Conference, the first one in 1984. I think it was in like May or June or something of 1984. And it's really like a family thing, a family business at this point, where um, Laura's mother started it, and then Laura worked there helping for many years. And Laura's brother, Greg Nalbandian, runs the bookstore at NORWAC, where there's just hundreds and hundreds of bookstores, hundreds and hundreds of books at this bookstore at the conference, because the family used to actually run a local astrology bookstore in Seattle that was the biggest astrology bookstore I'd ever seen. And that's one of the reasons I moved to Seattle, and I moved to be like really close to there around 2004, 2005. And that's how I ended up attending my first NORWAC, is volunteering to help them set up the bookstore and move all the boxes and stuff. So Laura is worked there, and the entire family like worked the conference each year, because it became an annual conference that would happen in the spring every year after 1984. And eventually Laura took over organizing the conference from her mother, from Maggie, and Maggie passed away just a few years ago. um, and Laura's brother still runs the bookstore, and then the um, Laura's daughter and son now come and also help run the conference and do registration. So that means you have something like three different generations of astrologers that have been running this conference over the past 40 years. And it's pretty cool now that it's been going for that long, for 40 years. So this is kind of a big anniversary for this year's conference. Here's the speaker list again for people that are just getting here. So this is the Northwest Astrological Conference, which is happening in person this weekend in Seattle, but they're also simultaneously live streaming it so that you can sign up at norwac.net in order to attend online. If you do sign up and attend, let them know that you heard about it through the Astrology Podcast live stream. And I'm going to be attending online this weekend, and I wanted to do a little live streams to talk about some of the talks that I attended. And yeah, I'm excited about watching some different lectures from different professional astrologers this weekend. Red Star says, I didn't realize it had been going on for so many years. Yeah, it's been going on for literally 40 years. This is the 40th conference they've done. And then even that family has been involved in organizing other conferences in the community as well. Like, for example, the last big United Astrology Conference, which is when all of the astrological organizations get together and pool their resources to host one big mega conference. That happened, the last one happened before COVID in, what was it, like 2018 or 2019 or something like that. And Laura was the head organizer of that. So they've even been involved in like other conferences that have happened, really major ones over the years besides NORWAC. So that's like 40 plus conferences that they've done at this point. Tara asks if this will post to YouTube after the live. Yeah, the recording of this entire live stream should go up in my live streams tab on YouTube after it's over. Let's see what's going on now. All right. Where is the conference? The conference is happening in Seattle. Actually, technically, it's in a little city outside of Seattle called Tukwila, which is a little city that's not far from the Seattle airport. So it's actually really easy when you fly into Seattle to get the hotel they use has a private shuttle that takes people back and forth from the hotel to the airport for free, which is actually pretty awesome because I've attended some astrology conferences where the hotel was just like wildly far away from the airport and you had to pay, back in the day, like exorbitant amounts to get from the airport to the hotel. So that's one of the reasons that they always do it at the same hotel, NORWAC, each year in May, because they have this great deal worked out where, you know, people get shuttled back and forth pretty easily. So Vandana says, some generational astrology at work here is one of the most well-known astrology conferences initiated and led by a family group. Yeah, and you know, it's interesting because especially in the West, after the decline of astrology in the 17th and 18th century, we lost a lot of the lineages where there used to be more teacher-student lineages, or sometimes even other types of lineages from family lineages, which goes back really far in the astrological tradition, where, for example, in the Mesopotamian tradition, for hundreds of years, some of the Mesopotamian astrologers would pass down the information from generation to generation. So in some parts of the world, like in India, you still have some instances of that, of passing down generational knowledge of astrology through family lineages. But in the West, it's a little bit more unique to have like a family lineage like this that's been hosting and organizing this conference for the entire community for the past 40 years. Okay, so it looks like the keynote speaker is getting up to talk. Let me share, even if I can't share the audio, I can just share a screenshot of that. This is just the title slide in the Zoom for the keynote lecture that's about to happen by Patricia Walsh, titled Reimagining Astrology. And they're just introducing her now. Edward says, one day I want to go to a conference once I'm ready to visit. Yeah, I really, it's something I can't stress enough. I really recommend everybody to try to attend a conference, especially in person at some point if you can, because it's kind of a really important experience in every astrologer's journey that I think you can't understand until you've done it. And once you've done it and had the experience of meeting hundreds of other astrologers in person all at once and making a bunch of new friendships and connections and relationships with different people who are focused on the same thing and that speak the same language. Once you have that experience, it's something that you can never go back from. But it can be tough. They're not cheap. It's expensive sometimes to get to conferences. There's different things you can do in order to bring the cost down a little bit if that's like an issue. I was talking to my friend Nick Dagan Best earlier today, where him and I first really connected at a Northwest Astrology conference in 2005. And, in some of our first meetings, I actually like crashed on his couch at his hotel. I couldn't afford to stay at a hotel at the conference. And I ended up connecting with him and like crashing on his couch, which I was hugely grateful for and allowed me to attend the conference. So I was also only like 20. So it's like you're able to, pull off some of those things a little bit more when you're 20-year-old and you're sort of broke college student, which is a little unique situation. But there are different ways that you can make it happen. And sometimes there's scholarships or sharing a room with somebody can help cut down on the cost and other things like that. Yeah, I guess I'm doing some direct reporting with no audio. I'm trying to share some of the audio because I did get permission to do that a little bit, but it's not transferring through as much as I would like. I had Nicholas on earlier to do a little interview, and that was nice. And if I can, I might get some other people to do some in-person interviews, like on the scene today, if I can. But we'll see what happens. All right, what are the other comments? Eleanor says, could you do a book review, please? Of what book? Okay, Tara tried to volunteer, but wasn't able to, and it didn't work out. Keep trying. There's always ways to do it. My strategy, it was a long-term strategy, but once I attended my first conference, I realized my workaround was just to become like a famous astrologer and get invited to speak at the conference, and then I could get in for free. So that's a strategy too. It takes a little bit of time, 5 to 10 years maybe, but in the long term, definitely cost saving and worth it. Oh, Nicholas says he's in the bookstore. All right, let me see if I can patch Nicholas in because he's going to show us the bookstore. Oh, he's already there. Hey. Hey.
Hey, buddy, we live?
Yeah, this is live. Hold on a sec. Let me figure out how to mute Zoom. Okay. And let me fix the videos so mine's not overlapping with yours. Is everybody able to see and hear Nicholas more or less?
Yeah, let me know if you can hear me. You probably can see me. I don't know how good the mic is.
Okay.
I want to plug in my
that.
headphones and do it this way, but I don't know if it's going to be good.
Pop that. There we go. That's not quite working. Okay, let me.
I can make it work
if I
too.
switch to your camera, can you still hear me?
I can, yeah.
Why can't I hear you? Let me try this.
Hey, Chris, so you can hear me, yes, brother?
No. All right, let's go back. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I just need to know if you can with me, and then I need to use my other phone to see if I can see your live chat too. Okay, so they can hear us. Hello. Does this work? It does. Look at that. This is the bookstore. It's kind of a room in the back part of the conference.
Nice. So
right?
This is the bookstore at the Northwest Astrology Conference, everyone, that just has like hundreds and hundreds of the best astrology books you've ever seen.
Yeah, the way it's laid out too on the outside of this bookstore. Right now we're looking at Dane Rujar's book, so but it actually goes in alphabetical order. The way Greg Nalbandian runs this bookstore. So if we start all the way, let's start here. Let's start here just because. So we start at the A's is how it's set up. And it kind of goes all the way around the room to Z, and then there's the middle part. And just so happens to be when I go to the B.
Look at that. That's beautiful.
I remember, Chris, when your book first came out here, I remember sold all the copies, I think, when it came out.
I sent a bunch of copies and we sold them all. It was pretty amazing. So I always try to send extra each year just in case anybody doesn't have it yet.
Yeah. I already saw a couple of people buying it this morning. The bookstore pretty much opened several hours ago. Let me tell you something here. See, this book right here.
I have to apologize to them for the extra weight in their luggage. That's probably going to cause some issues.
I mean, like how thick the book is. It's just like, but yeah, this book is one of my faves, actually. And I think Weiser's reprinting this book. It's coming out. The new edition's coming out in a month, or it might already been out.
I've never heard of this. When was it published?
Here, let's look. But I reference this book every week. Like, it's not a cookbook. It looks like it was 96 was the first publishing.
Okay. Wow.
But basically, this book, one of my favorites, like it goes through Pisces ascendant, right? And it has a different way of explaining it, but then it goes through each planet in each sign. And then it has like domiciles, like basics, Moon and Sagittarius. But the back of the book, it starts to get interesting about like helping with explanations of certain planet combinations. Wow. So here's Venus, Neptune, right? Actually, let's hey, I'm live right now. You want to talk?
You want to buy the book?
You want to talk? We'll get him on camera next. But here's Venus, Jupiter, right? Since we're dealing with that, right? Today or this week. Okay.
Nice. Venus, Jupiter, concord, abundance, harmony, happiness. I like that. I like it's structured very well.
Yeah, it does. And then they have some explanations of there's the harmony and there's the discord part of it, right? So the duality. The book actually is a lot of duality, and whatever it's explaining, it will represent that. Even like, for instance, here's Pluto in the 10th, and it kind of has the good stuff and then the problem area, they call it. Anyway, I love this book.
What's the title again? Keywords for Astrology?
Keywords for Astrology. Yeah, new edition's coming out, I think, here recently. I just saw a new edition. So anyway, that's in the B's.
Hold on, I'm going to put the link to that in the chat.
Yeah.
So here we go.
It's not cookbooky, but it is, and it's good reference, just in a different way. And I think it does a really good job of explaining in simple terms, but has depth.
Yeah,
So,
that's amazing. I'd never heard of that. I like the cover too. That's an old
oh
image, I
yeah, man,
think.
this thing is on my 5 books next to my table when I'm needing some new adjectives and words. You know what I mean? To stimulate that for explaining a transit.
Right.
So, but anyway, yeah, we're going alphabetical here, and then in the middle of the room, you could see tables that go out. And here we, kind of showcasing in the first table the newer books that are out, right? Or
Nice. So
maybe
these
new editions of
this is the
books.
new books table.
Yeah, and some of them are new. Like I know Judith Hill just put out this book, right? This just came out a couple weeks ago.
Nice. So that's on medical
Um,
astrology.
yeah, an old friend of mine, a Portland friend, wrote an amazing book right here on the Venus retrograde, and it's a workbook so that you use before, during Venus retrogrades.
Nice. That'll
And
come
it
in
has,
handy next year. We're coming up on a Venus retrograde in Aries, right?
yeah, she's here. It goes, Venus in the Pisces. I think it goes over both signs that retrograde. And anyway, she's an amazing astrologer out of Portland, right here.
Yeah. Melanie's awesome.
Yeah, Melanie's awesome. She's here, by the way. And then obviously, I just ran into Eric. Eric's here today at the conference.
Oh, Agrippa. Nice. There's 2 Agrippas there.
Yeah, because he's got 2. But you see how the volumes are in the 3 volumes here.
Awesome. What was the title of the Venus retrograde one again?
It's called Beautiful Astrology's Venus Retrograde, but you're not going to find it easily online, Chris. You know where you're going to find it? You're going to find it. It's on another person's. Okay, look up this. It's this one. It's Earth Dragon Press because they have a table here.
I think I found it.
Yeah, it's there. And as a matter of fact, that they sell these other calendars based on the Sabian symbols and lunations. I was looking at the new calendars today at a booth. Anyway, you should be able to find this book there.
Got it. Yeah, I just put the link in the chat.
But okay, and then sure. All right, I got a surprise for you. Let's do it right, okay? Let me see if I can.
And is Judith speaking at the conference?
She is.
What's the title of that new book? Oh, hey, Greg.
Good to see you, Chris.
Yeah, good to see you. Nicholas is just showing off your fabulous bookstore to our, I think 300 people in the live stream right now.
Wonderful. Well, we miss you having you here, dude. Can't wait to have you back.
Yeah, one of these days when I'm better, I'll definitely be back there in person again. But in the meantime, I'm going to live stream things this weekend and help let people know about the conference who are attending online.
Excellent.
Yeah. What's your favorite book right now, Greg? What's your main book recommendation?
Well, right now, I think obviously because Liz Green has been gone with books for so long, the new Liz Green book on Chiron, it's really well done. It's been a long time since she's written anything. So people were very, very happy to see this book come out. And then, of course, there's the new Judith Hill book, which is trending right now on Amazon like you wouldn't believe. I think she was the #1 seller for days in a row.
So what's the title? It's the 12 Zodiacal Sign Syndromes?
Correct. And why I think this book has become so popular, or if people are fascinated by it, is because it's accessible. It's on the 12 astrology signs. It goes into a lot of complicated stuff. It's easy to access. It's easy to understand. And she's brilliant with her ideology on medical astrology. So this is one of the ones I recommend a lot.
And she's giving talks on that topic at this conference, right?
Exactly. Tomorrow night she'll be giving a talk on this.
She's doing a work's too, maybe on or today or Monday.
Monday she's doing a workshop. Yeah.
Okay.
Here's one other recommendation. It's kind of a goofy recommendation, but I'm going to do it anyway. I discovered this book, a really easily accessible book on the position of your sun and the moon through houses, and it goes through all combinations. It's very accurate. It's very concise and succinct. So it's
nice.
I like books that are accessible and you don't have to refer to a lot of different reference points to understand it. This book is very easy to understand and has a lot of good information.
What year was it published? Did it just come out?
It was just published, by Llewellyn last year.
Nice. Okay. Behind the Horoscope.
You noticed you didn't look in the book to find out when it was? Yeah, you look somewhere else doing the tricks. I know what he's doing. I know what he's doing. But okay, whoa. Okay, wait a second.
There you are, Chris.
Hold on.
Yeah, sorry,
But Chris, let's do this right now. Okay, listen.
All right.
Not only does Greg running his bookstore at the conference, how long?
For 40 years.
40 years, okay. But also the history of NORWAC with all the audio recordings, the stuff in the past, everything that's happened is recorded. That's Greg.
We have recordings all the way back to 1986. So
Wow.
It was 2 years we didn't really have recordings. We have some amazing stuff. Jim Lewis. We've got astrocartography. When he actually first presented it, he presented it at NORWAC, which was pretty intense. Buzz Myers. We've got a lot of people. Diana Stone, which if you haven't listened to Diana Stone, you're going to be pleasantly surprised on how intelligent and funny she is. She was an amazing lady.
And probably a plethora of keynote speeches by Rob Hand over the years.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He always did the closing lecture for year after year, and he was always was able to wrap up the essence of the convention at the end. That was just magical. He was magical with it. So they're worth listening to.
Yeah, Rob would always give the closing. People would refer to it colloquially as like the Sunday sermon, because it was always like a very inspiring closing speech.
You always left with this bright light from Rob. It was pretty amazing.
Rob, if you're watching somehow you're watching this, we're thinking about you, especially because we're talking about the uplifting total Jupiter transit weekend, right? Where we're having Jupiter Venus, we got Jupiter ingress tomorrow. So
pretty amazing.
But okay, well, I'm not done though with this guy. So I mean, he's family. I don't know if this is Greg Nalbandian. So
yeah, so this for everybody watching, this is Greg Nalbandian, who is in the family of the people running the conference, and Greg always runs the bookstore and does the recordings. And you've been doing this for like what, 40 years? Does it go all the way back to the beginning, or how long have you been working it?
From the beginning. The store next year will be 50 years old.
Wow.
50 years. So, and here's a surprising note. Astrology et al. Will have a brick and mortar next year.
Yes.
I'm opening the store.
You're bringing it back.
Be able to shop and come. We'll once again host lectures and classes and all kinds of stuff. So be looking forward to that.
Do you know where is it going to be? In Seattle?
In Shoreline. It'll be in Shoreline, near my house. If any of you know where the Crest Theater is, it's right near the Crest Theater.
North Seattle.
Yeah, North Seattle.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I was just telling people earlier how Astrology et al. Used to be basically like the most amazing, like biggest astrology bookstore I'd ever seen, and that I specifically moved to Seattle to be close to it, and that was how I actually, while I was attending Kepler as well.
Remember.
And that's
I remember you coming in the store the first time.
Yeah, well, and then you let me volunteer. You gave me an offer to come work the bookstore to get in the conference for free, and that's how I attended my first NORWAC in 2005. So I'm super grateful for that. That was my first experience, like 19 years ago now.
Yeah, time flies, Chris. Time flies.
You know what? That's another way of saying, Chris, you're getting old. That's another way. We're getting old. You know what I mean? So
I'll take that.
The other way of saying it. Now we're in the Saturn part of the conversation, aren't we? So, yeah. Well, okay. Let's come here. Let's show them this.
Okay, we may have lost the feed. Hold on just a second. Oh, there it goes. Now it's back. All right.
Okay, sorry.
That's
okay,
right.
So basically, this part of the table, you're going to tell them, Greg.
So what I have done,
the used books.
Yes, from my collection, this is probably a 10th of my collection. I realized a couple years ago that, I would rather all the new astrologers and people out there get to read this stuff. There's so much out of print stuff here that you can't find. I mean, crazy old books on all kinds of stuff.
Nice. I dig that cover.
I mean, it's
pull out another one. Pull out another weird one, dude.
Another weird.
What were we picking earlier? So
I got
you had a
some-
hardcover.
I got some really obscure book from like 1901 I'd never heard of before from you at the
Chris,
ESAR conference.
Yeah, I need to find out what happened with that book, and you need to fill me in what the
Okay.
heck what that book was.
Yeah, I'll find it. It's really cool. It does a question and answer from an astrologer from 1901, and I'm surprised it's not more well known, but I'll try to scan it or something.
Do that. Hold on, I'm gonna find.
He's gonna grab. I'll go through, but I like this used part because he's kind of throws stuff in his personal collection, right? So you got some
Yeah.
old hardcovers you can't find of things, right? Actually, here's an interesting hardcover right here.
Nice.
that
I've
you
never
have-
seen that
Oh,
edition.
yeah.
These are really hard to find book. Are you ready
Nice.
for this one, Chris? Are you ready for
Yeah.
this one? Manual of Mongolian Astrology and Divination.
What? All right, no, set that aside for me, please. I'll buy that from you right now. He knows the key to my heart is obscure.
I have a Mongolian friend who's going to translate a bunch of this for me. So
Okay.
get ready, dude.
So
Wait,
is it
wait,
in
wait.
Mongolian?
It's been translated, but look, there's tons of it in ancient
wow.
Mongolian.
Okay.
But they've translated into French. So
All right.
I'm gonna get it translated into English.
Wait, if you're selling that, I will buy that from you like right now, but if you're not,
I will sell this to you, Chris. I was going to keep this for myself, but if there is anybody in the world that I know who would figure it out and want it, it's you, my friend. So this is your book.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, my friend.
You're
my God,
welcome,
that's
Chris.
exciting. You always have the best. You always have something like that for me that I've never heard of before. That's the most obscure,
Yeah, I
like
know.
interesting astrology title I've ever heard.
When I came across that book, I couldn't. And then this book was only printed as a hardback.
Mm.
They didn't re-release it.
I might want that book. I'm scared of another price.
I've heard, yeah. I think I've seen that on like Wiser and Antiquarian books, but it's like a lot.
Right. It's probably some of the more mundane associations, which I actually really like.
Oh, stop there. Let's go to the future. Let's go right there. Uranus and Gemini. This position is good for the study of occultism. Oh, that's
It
what we
gives a
got.
transcendental intellect, provides Mercury, Sun, and the Moon are not debilitated.
Nice.
So it's got parts of fortune in here.
Yeah, it's
Jupiter by sign, Venus by sign, Mercury
Wow.
by sign.
What year is that?
Pretty amazing stuff. Astrological tarot.
what year he said.
What year? Let's see. Paul, this book does not tell you.
Oh, do we?
Chris.
Hi, Patrick.
This book doesn't tell me what year this was, so I'm assuming by the style of publishing, it's probably 40s or 50s.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's brilliant. It's a really good condition. It's in really good condition.
Yeah,
as well.
that's one of the things I try to do. Is all my books, I make sure that they're not stacked flat. I have them all vertical in shelves, so they're all. I try to keep them. I cherish books, so I try to keep.
So are these going to be on the shelves, like a used books section in the new store once you set up next year?
Yeah, there's another one that's really incredible to find.
Astrology and the Law by Walter Coleman. Nice.
It's got the Uranus.
I know.
What's
What's
the
it
Uranus? If you think of Jupiter or Saturn, why does it have Uranus?
Is astrology legal? What astrologers can't do? Astrology laws. All right. Can you set that aside for me as well? Like, this is what happens. This is why I don't go into astrology bookstores because.
I'll do this to you, Chris. I go, hey, Chris, look what you've never seen before.
Right. Exactly. Divisional charts. Nice. Somebody was just asking me about that the other day. I need to do an episode on divisional charts.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I don't think that's an astrology.
No, that's some weird. You got some.
Yeah, it's a weird stuff.
What else? Well, you got some.
Oh, here's one that's going to blow your mind. Do you remember Michael Mayer?
Yeah, humanistic.
This is a gallery copy of a book that never got published because he died before it came out.
Oh no.
The holistic perspective on the meaning and identity. Pretty incredible. I'll put
all
this
right.
aside for you too, Chris.
Set that aside for me as well. I will get
I
that
will.
published. I'm going to talk to Jen Zart. I bet Jen Zart would love to publish that.
Right, I think so. I think we can get this published. There's a couple other things. Let's see.
All right, everybody in the live chat, I may have to crowdfund the publication of that book. So let me know if you're in for that, to publish a lost astrology book that never made it into publication from a single manuscript.
Dude, I didn't know about that. He's one of my secret favorite dudes, by the way, Michael Meyer, dude. He put all of Ruja stuff in plain English.
The handbook for human
Yeah.
Like here's another one of his books right there.
Oh yeah, I never seen this version of it.
The Astrology of Relationship, Michael Meyer. Nice. Oh yeah, because he wrote, what was it, the Handbook for the Humanistic Astrologer?
Yeah,
Is that
That's a great book.
You go to that.
One of the
You go to
basic
Chaldea.com. You know the Dane Rudyard. Wait, how can I'm trying to switch this up. The Dane Rudyard like reference site. It's called Chaldea.com, and you see a lot of Michael articles on there too. Like if you go to that website. So
by Michael Meyer, yeah.
Yeah. And
there's an ephemeris section on the table, isn't there? Could you show us that?
oh
That's
yeah,
one-
sure.
That's one of my favorite
he's got a-
sections.
Yeah, okay, we're right next to it actually.
Here's another book that's
Okay, hold on. Oh, let me switch it up. Let me switch this shit. Okay, so this is the one he pulled right here. What the hell is this? What the hell's Noveen?
Interpreting.
Oh, look at. Oh, she's out of New York, isn't she?
There's
Isn't she
another
an
one that's
astrologer out of New York, like a counseling therapist? Yeah, I think that's who this is. So,
Interpreting your Novian moon. What is the Novian moon? Does anybody know?
no clue. We're gonna look right now.
Let us know in the live chat if you know. Forward. I like the typesetting.
There's another one. He's just pulling stuff out. So,
Wow. Client advance. Does it have a year for the publication of that?
this one. Let me see.
I like a lot of these are obviously like self-published, which is amazing because that's why you'll never hear about these books, because there's so many that were just lost because people
What year is that?
self-published them.
Is that what is that? 74?
Yeah, 74.
Yeah, that's 1974. Right
Yeah,
there.
so a lot of them were typeset by the authors, like with a typewriter, and they produced them themselves, kind of thing.
Right.
This Nobile Naumann, this was her first book she ever did, right there. Interpreting the
Okay,
Nobile.
we were right next to this, by the way, because you were asking.
So that's the ephemeris section. There's a whole section for ephemerises at the bookstore, which is amazing.
Hey, Chris, I have to go now.
All
It was
right.
really
Thanks,
wonderful
Greg.
talking. I will talk
Yeah.
to you soon, okay?
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, man.
So this is the ephemerises. You can get any ephemeris you ever wanted in this section. They got the noon ephemeris. They got the midnight ephemeris. What else? What is that? Oh, that's the
Dude, I'll show you my favorite
yeah,
one, dude.
that's a good
There's
one.
these other ones. There's the heliocentric one, right?
Nice.
This is my favorite right here.
Yes.
My favorite.
That is a
Right there.
hidden gem book that has all these amazing tables and like obscure ephemeride lists. One of my favorite parts of that book is it has this amazing few pages that it gives eclipses for like the entire century.
Yeah, that
But
was my favorite part too. And let me see if I can find that part before like using it in the software. This is what I used to use to jump right to the eclipse section.
What's the title?
I mean, look
again?
at this is Tables of Planetary Phenomena, and you want to find this third edition because the earlier editions had a couple calculation mistakes, and then they had to put these runouts in them. So if you can get the one with the corrected one here in the third. But like here, for instance, there's this stuff like this.
I'll put a link in the live chat to that book for people that
Uranus,
want it.
Saturn ingresses, But let me find that.
Oh yeah, it has ingresses, right?
Yeah. Or stuff like this. I mean, this is wild for the researchers.
5
right?
or more planets within 20 degrees of arc, 1700 to 2050. Nice.
You call them planetary clusters.
Yeah, it's basically
let me see if
identifying
I can,
stelliums.
Oh, this part here is dope. I just passed it. The planetary conjunctions. Oh, the outer body ones, right?
Outer body conjunctions, 500 BCE to 200, and it's showing all Jupiter Saturn conjunctions, all Jupiter Uranus. That's amazing, just being able to see all of that at a glance.
Yeah, here, look at this one. Let's pick this one because that's about to happen.
Saturn conjunct Neptune.
So look at, we're starting at minus 46, and then we're going all the way to, we'll go to, here's 2020. Am I looking at the right? Oh no, that's Saturn, Pluto. But let's look at where we are ending up here. Here, we'll just pick this date here of 2026, right?
Oh yeah, there it is. February 20th, 2026. Nice. And then the last one was 1989, and that was the one that was like the fall of the Berlin Wall and Russia and everything else.
And there's three conjunctions that are happening probably because of the retrogrades. So
right. Nice.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the eclipse part, but see, oh, there it is. Well, here's one by the duration, and here's in the zodiacal order, right?
Yeah, there's the zodiacal, so it shows like when the eclipses happen at certain degrees, and then the one that's really useful is just the one that's
this is the one
in order. So solar and lunar eclipses 1700 to 2050, and it just shows you a really concise list of like every eclipse and whether it was total or partial for a very long time.
Yep.
Nice. Oh, the asteroid ephemeris. That's a different cover. They must have updated it.
Yep. And then there's this one. I've never seen this one before. I don't know what the hell it's a that must be published somewhere else.
7 Centaur ephemeris. I've never heard of that before.
Never have either. I don't know where this came from. It's like it's a Swiss guy, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
All right, so we've got 260, I think, viewers. So for everyone curious, we're at the bookstore at the Northwest Astrology Conference that's happening in Seattle this weekend, and Nicholas Polimenakos is showing off all the amazing books that are at this bookstore. It's always one of my favorite parts of the conference. Jansky, okay. Astrology, nutrition, and health.
This is a new version. I've never seen it because I have this card cover, right? But I've never seen it. Like, this must be a newer version of this Cornell book.
Yeah, that's a big book.
Yeah. And then like the middle tables kind of represent here. So he's like, there's a lot of Chiron stuff. And then on the other half is like predictive astrology, right? Probably progressions, maybe. Yeah. Oh, dude. Okay, man. Come on now, dude. This my man right here, dude.
Yeah.
This book is gold.
So
holographic transits. We're dealing with sun-planet conjunctions, prenatal sun-planet conjunctions, and then the effect they have on your chart. But you start at the prenatal sun-Venus conjunction. This is phasal stuff too, right? A lot of times we got, the current stuff that people are doing a lot of Venus work, right? But you could do that with all the planets.
And wasn't holographic transits, wasn't that his word for what other astrologers like Nick Dagan-Best call like recurrence transits?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they're using that. And yeah, on the basics from starting, when was the Sun Venus prenatal conjunction before you're born, and knowing what that is, and then going on from there, right?
Okay, so that's like also like what Ariel Gutman calls the Venus star point.
Yes, it became very popular. But many people have worked with Venus in their phases over the years, so this has been happening for a while. But anyway, Robert was a third house Scorpio sun with Mercury in Scorpio, so no joke here with the words, very precise. And part of his 5-book series that he did, and the other one, the famous one, is on progressions, which I think somebody bought it already because I saw it earlier. Maybe I could find it. Anyway,
that's the funny thing is there's only like a few. Sometimes just one of these books on the table at a conference. So sometimes you got to get in there early before people start snatching up titles.
Pretty much. And then here, we're going into the relationship realm, right? And actually, here's one of Robert's books in the series, right? He wrote a whole thing on his own version of this stuff.
So there's like a whole table here for relationship astrology and synastry and composite charts and everything else.
Oh, there it is, dude. There it is, right there. That's it, right there.
Blaschke, progressions, the astrology, a language of life, nice. And
no joke,
with a foreword by Rob Hand, cool.
He wrote these amazing blog posts for the Mountain Astrologer while he knew he was sick with cancer, and he was using his own chart and delineating this process with progressions and solar returns. The dude was so blatantly honest about what he did. He was intense, dude. Anyway.
Yeah, he used to participate in the MySpace forum that I did many years ago. and I bought, I don't know if it's there, but the book of his that he published on how to be a professional astrologer was actually a pretty good book, and I learned some things from that.
Yeah, dude, Titan right here. One of my secret books that I love on progressions is Sophia Mason's Astrologer, but this delineations of progressions is kind of a cookbook, but she doesn't filter stuff, man. I don't know where her Mercury was, but she told the truth. And so this is a great book if you're learning progressions, and it's pretty cookbook. I mean, you could see she's going through each progress, Sun in conjunct Uranus, conjunct parallel Neptune. This is pretty much the whole book, and
Nice.
It talks a little bit about converse progressions too, right? So, but anyway, you can see this part of the table is that, and then
Progressions. Okay, so there's a whole section of the table for
before we ran
progressions.
into Greg, because obviously there's
Demetra's books, nice.
Yep.
I'm glad there's lots of copies of that.
Yeah, and she did a workshop today. But we're back to the table with some of the new stuff. There's Michael, right? And his new book, Horror book, he's actually selling at a table down the hall at the vendors.
Oh, he's got a second book out this year?
Yeah, it came out 2 weeks ago.
Oh wow, because this book just came out like a year ago.
Yeah, right before the conference, actually.
So this is Michael Bryan's book, Mastering Traditional Astrology.
But yeah, no, but you'll see it. It's blue, and he's got it. It's out now. I think you get it on the Big River. So what else? I'm just looking at the new table. What else do I see? He's here speaking. Actually, Martin here is from Europe. He's speaking here. This book he's coming more from the modern psychological view of astrology. And this book on the 8th house I've owned for a couple of years. It's really good.
Nice.
But he's here speaking.
This is his first time speaking at NORWAC, right?
Yes. Yeah. But I know him for a while, but he's got videos he puts on YouTube. I don't know if they're in German. I can't remember. You can have them translated, and they're really good. But this book is great, 8th house. And more, again, he's looking at charts and history with countries and people. But again, he's coming more from the mythological, the modern archetype, shadow work, stuff like that.
Nice.
So,
that's awesome.
What else before I got to get some food in my body? Let's go here again. This obviously is the mega book, one of the mega books on Pluto that I tell my clients and other people to recommend, because Donna, therapist, worked with many people. She was a brilliant astrologer. She was prolific on the internet with her WordPress that she had, and the PDFs that she wrote.
She was a writer. She gave her final talk at a NORWAC before she passed away, like maybe 10 years ago.
Basically proclaimed it, dude. I was there. She's like, this is my last, like the way she did it. And it wasn't too long after that she left us. A brilliant book on guilt and shame pretty much is right here. And anybody watching that's got Pluto in their first house, or Pluto Venus, Pluto Sun, this book. And there's another book I'll find that is in this realm called The Hades Moon by Judy Hall. I don't know if he's got it. I'm going to look for it. It's a brilliant Pluto book too. Anyway, brilliant person. She's got books on aromatherapy. I mean, counseling. She's a powerhouse.
Nice. And I see Darby's book just to the left of that. I interviewed Darby. We did a whole thing on the elements, a whole episode on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see the other one right there.
Nice. Earth and Air. Perfect.
Then there's this.
The big one that everybody is the book, like every astrologer, every thinking astrologer has to have, The Moment of Astrology by Jeffrey Cornelius, which I did a whole episode about 10 years ago.
Yeah. Then let's just see where obviously this section here.
All of Ben's books, although it looks like a bunch of them have already been bought, right? That's what the spaces are?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Nice. So Ben's got like a ton of books on medieval astrology translations, and a bunch of them may have been out, but it looks like people like pounced on those as soon as they got there.
Okay, I'm going to tell you guys a secret, okay? And don't tell anybody. But this book, this is the secret book. Right?
Yeah. That is the book that is behind many famous astrology books, like Richard Tarnas's Cosmos and Psyche, or like Rob Hand's Planets and Transits. They took a lot of influence, or were very influenced by the delineations that Reinhold Eberton did in the combination of stellar influences. It's one of those core books that every astrologer in the late 20th century had.
Yep. What else can we go? Well, obviously we're learning moon phases in your chart, right?
Nice.
Along with Dane Rujar's book on moon phases called The Lunation Cycle. There's Demetra's way of really presenting learning moon phasal relationships. Actually, this book will teach somebody in a simple way aspect theory, really. If you learn your sun-moon relationship in your chart and phase relationship, it's basically a primer, really, for learning the 360-degree wheel based on moon phases. Anyway, so what else we got here to draw into? Okay. We'll just point this dude out because of his own history in France and what he's done research-wise. So, Chris, I know you know about him, and he was more on I'm not gonna be scientific. How would you explain this?
Gauquelin, yeah. I mean, this is his work, especially on the Mars effect, where he did the largest scale statistical studies on astrology that have ever been conducted. And he found that eminent athletes tended to have Mars rising or culminating after the midheaven or the ascendant is in more often than people that were not eminent athletes, basically. And it caused a lot of controversy because it was the strongest evidence scientifically for astrology that existed for a long time. And yeah, I did a whole episode talking about Michel Gauquelin and his work and the Mars effect specifically, which is what he outlines in this book.
What else are we going to go here, man? Well, obviously we have this realm here because we're in the G's of Liz Green's work. Okay. Here's the book, dude. Here's the other Pluto book I was talking about, the secret one. This book is about Pluto moon aspects. And Judy wrote a lot of books in the esoteric realm, from the Astrology Bible to crystal books and stuff. But this book, people who know and watch my channel, I'm always dropping this book. But those who have major Pluto moon aspects, Pluto square your moon, Pluto conjunct your moon, this book talks about what gets passed through lineages of people, especially in family charts, especially with women, and what gets carried with certain situations and narratives that are Plutonian based. Pretty intense stuff. So this book is pretty dense. But if you sift through it, you just find the gold here. And it's, you got to be in the Pluto mindset. You know what I mean? You got to be willing to go there and go deep. But This book is a gem in my world. And I always go back to it because I pretty much attract Pluto clients. So this book is there. This seems to be a different version of it. But okay. Nice. And then, listen. Okay. Oh, yeah. There's one of my favorite chapters on malefics is in this Robert handbook that comes across so easy and Robert's way of making the malefics sound good. It's in this Essays on Astrology book. It's one of my favorites. And
what's the chapter title of that? I don't even remember.
Here, let me find it. There it is. See, wait a second.
I remember his chapter on Nostradamus in that book.
Handling the malefics. So there it is right there.
Okay. Nice.
Yep.
Cool. That's a classic.
Yeah, man. That one's filled with little somethings. But yeah, we keep going, dude, obviously, right? And then, that's a whole nother.
Yeah, right. James Holden, all of his books and translations. My favorite book on the history of astrology right there, A History of Horoscopic Astrology. That's the book every astrologer should have. It's in my top 5 list, I think.
You got the big hardcover, the big one, dude?
Yeah, I got both. You mean the biographical dictionary? The
biographical one, yeah.
Is that there?
I don't even touch it. It's so sensitive to handle that book. But yeah.
Here's one of my. Is there a copy of that there?
No, there isn't. No. Okay. No, we got hardcover of this and the soft, and then some of the other stuff. Then obviously, that's
that was
comeback that happened.
That was a big that book. On Abu Ali al-Khayyat was published in 1987 or something, and it was a very early translation before any other translations had been done. That was one of the first astrologers who published a translation of an ancient text, and it was actually very influential. I remember at a NORWAC once, when I was speaking, probably for the first time, I was at a speaker party, and I talked to John Frawley, and he said that was one of his first astrology books that really got him into traditional astrology.
Things come around, dude, don't they? Full circle, man.
Yeah.
Right. We know whatever a lot of people are studying again, and newer translations coming out.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, man. I mean, just it goes on and on, doesn't it, Chris?
Yeah, we could do this for the next 3 days, basically. Mark
Yeah,
Jones,
basically.
The
My
Soul
favorite
Speaks.
book that he's ever done. There's really good stuff here for astrologers that want to learn some basic counseling techniques to deal with transference and countertransference and all this stuff there, because he's a therapist. One of my favorite books to go back to ground myself with my clients.
Yeah, I think I interviewed him about that book when it came out, to talk about those counseling issues that come up for
Do you
astrologers.
remember when we met here, when you guys had you guys had a beer here at the conference?
Yeah, well,
You remember that? I remember that.
Well, I think you were sitting there, because my first meeting of Mark is we were all sitting in a circle at NORWAC in the lobby, and Mark like looks across at me and he said he's like, I think your approach to astrology is really damaging, because you tell people negative things about their life or their chart. And I said, I think I turned it around. I said, I can't remember. It was much more eloquent at the time, but it was like, well, I think that, it's important to be realistic about people's lives, and to overlook the difficult things in a person's life actually negates and doesn't help them to embrace and deal with the challenges that they sometimes need to deal with at the time. And then it sort of clicked for him, and then we had a good exchange and became friends after that. But that happened at a NORWAC, and I think you were sitting there when that happened.
I was sitting there, and you know what happened after that? It was not too long ago. He was on your podcast after that. I think you did an episode with him after that, right after that.
Yeah, we did a bunch of episodes. We did a whole string of them, and that book especially was one of them, with the counseling dynamics.
Yeah. No, I anyway, I love this book.
Yeah,
this is the type of stuff that happens at conferences, certain conversations, huh, Chris?
Right. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of those happening this weekend. And so I'm just looking at the schedule, and it looks like, so are the first lectures are happening now, right?
Yeah, there's a bunch of people streaming in a room, so I'm gonna leave here soon because there's a lot of noise. But yeah, they're about to happen, the first set. So yeah.
Cool.
Okay, one more. I gotta highlight my homie. He's not my homie for real, but okay, just because let me switch this up. I mean, we just got to shout out Anthony, because he's put out a plethora of books. He's got a new horror book he put on Llewellyn and a couple other things, but his blog, everything, Anthony's part of some translations in the past. You know this, Chris. You know what I'm talking about here.
One of those, I think Anthony Lewis, he may have won like a UAC Regulus Award or something for that book as like promising up and coming astrologer in 1992 or something.
Yeah, but in the last 2 years, he put out another horror book on Llewellyn, and then he put out another predictive book. Was he? I don't know if he was on your podcast about that. I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, he's been on before.
But dude, just that's what's up.
That's exciting.
Just some easy reading. Just some easy,
some light reading. That's a good one.
Nothing. Go through this book in a day. You know what I mean?
That one, at least, it's printed on thinner paper, so it's lighter than mine, even though it has the same page count.
So yeah, that's what's up, man.
Thanks for the tour. I appreciate it. This is a rare inside look for people that have never attended a NORWAC or never attended an amazing astrology bookstore like Astrology at all in Seattle, what it's like. And yeah, that's one of the reasons I moved to Seattle in 2004.
Why did your book end up here? Like somebody it ended up here. Like it's weird.
Right. Somebody's just sprinkling in copies of it around the place.
Yeah, it's like conjunct and then chakra book, It's like, but yeah, dude, glad we were able to pull it off. And I was glad to get Greg on here, because it's just bonus, right? And it's just bonus for everybody. And you weren't even here. You just bought 3 books. I mean, that's what happened here.
I mean, you can't take me to a bookstore and tell me I can't buy books. Like it's not a winning proposition. But so you're doing some interviews. You're going to do live speaker interviews here in like an hour? Are you doing those?
No. I mean, Laura's going to be on that Q&A that's happening. I'm in those tomorrow, the in between Q&As. If you go to the site, you look at the Q&As. I open up the room. We create 3 breakout rooms, and each speaker goes in there, and the attendees get 30 minutes to talk with the speaker in the breakout room. So, and then there's tomorrow night. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. Hopefully, I pull something off, but grab some people and talk. But maybe like this, But I'll be in a more static place, I think. So, but
Got
this
it.
kind of worked. I was able to pull this on my phone here on the 5G hotspot, so I could do it mobily.
Yeah, I mean, if you're down to, I do want to give a shout out and link to your YouTube channel for people that aren't subscribed yet. So your YouTube channel is Sparkles of Gold, and I just put a link in the chat. And you've been really killing it lately with forecasts like every week at this point, right?
Yeah, I've been doing. I need to take a break. You know how it is with YouTube, Chris.
Sure.
But it's like I'm doing it. I'm trying to build my channel, and I do live streams, and I'm just myself on there, and I go all out. And I got other plans. I got book reviews coming, and I got people I'm going to be bringing in, like you're doing here. And I some spontaneously go live. We'll talk about transits of the week and just talk about what's on my mind. So there's a lot, but I have a good community built up, and a good chat people. And Jupiter ingress tomorrow. We're entering some air period here next couple of years. How we utilize communications and everything's going to be bigger than ever.
Is it really tomorrow? Are we already there?
We're Jupiter ingress here tomorrow with
Wow.
like maybe less than a day.
You're right. Okay.
I got a 0 Venus, dude. I got a Venus Gemini. I'm having my Venus return right now, and Jupiter goes boom. It's just like.
All right.
So,
maybe this conference. Maybe who knows what'll happen? Maybe meet somebody who's to say.
Yeah, or I go to the casino and I put it all on black and I spin the roulette. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could do Jupiter Venus that way. There won't be any Jupiter loss, right? It's never lost with Jupiter, right, Chris? I mean,
we actually on another live chart reading I just did with patrons of the Astrology Podcast the other day. We read charts and people shared their recent transits. There was one patron who had just had the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in her 8th house, and that day went and gambled for like the first time ever and put down like $20 and won like $100, and then she was set. So all right, don't tell me. Okay. That's dangerous.
Don't tell me that.
I'm just saying, if you were going to under a certain transit, that's not a bad transit to have.
Yes, but my mindset is more on a second house resource end for the year. At the same time, celebrating the Jupiter-Venus conjunction that we're doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Neptune sextile, this is pretty good stuff. We got to celebrate it. We got to use it, because we know the rest of the year. But this week, we got a little bit of sweetness, huh, Chris? We got a little bit of something.
Right. Yeah, I like that. All right.
All right, brother.
So you got to go. Do you want to show us a shot of the lobby really quick? Are you going that way?
Let me see what's up.
Okay. So the bookstore is like over off in a corner of the hotel, but the hotel's really cool at NORWAC because it's centralized around a central lobby, and all of the rooms are built up in a tower around that. And then there's Robert Weinsteiner's Cryptodamus.
Hey. Say hi, Robert.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, what's up?
All right.
How are you doing?
Good. We're just doing a little
dollars
tour. All right, let me see. So this is the lobby, central area.
I'm going to try to be respectful and not show the camera on everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Just let me breathe through. You see my point of view for the last 15 years of running in between conference rooms. But,
Yeah.
here.
I was thinking more of like a
Hey.
establishing shot. All right, well, yeah. we
There's
don't
registration table right there, yeah?
Nice. All right.
But
there's
here's kind of the
registration.
famous table here because everybody puts their business cards here. Okay?
Nice. All right. So
And
this is
so-
where all the astrologers can put their flyers and like business cards down.
Yep.
That's cool.
There's me.
Oh, nice card. I like that. I always like seeing
And
different
there's
people's
the
cards.
Wonder Hollow.
So this is like the trade show booths. There's a bunch of vendors lined up all along the hallways selling different astrological products.
Guess what, dude? Guess what, Chris? There's a homeboy. Hi, Barry.
Hey, how's it going?
At the ESAR table here.
Nice. Isar.
Yes, say hi.
Oh,
Hi.
hello. There's Lisa Scheim. Hey, Lisa.
Here.
All
Let's
right.
do
Lisa's
it this
nervous. Yeah. Maybe...
Let's do it this way.
Okay. Yeah, that's better.
Wait. I'm trying to turn the camera on. There we go.
There we go.
Hello. Hey, we're just doing a little live stream here. You just took us around the bookstore. I actually bought like 3 books.
I know. He's like, let's go to the bookstore. Next thing you know, Greg said, pull up bookstore. I'm buying that one. But yeah, see, this is
Yeah.
what happens, right? Just like that, Chris, huh?
Yeah, you just run into people, you make connections, see old friends,
Yeah, totally. We're here
possibly
at the
like
Estar table.
partners.
We're throwing a party. We're throwing a party tonight at the Estar Suite. And then I also, for those know, work behind the scenes and do social media. Got to do something today for this, for Estar and stuff. So we're having a party and bringing in new members, wanting young people to come in. Man, the future's bright.
Nice. You have
Estar
a
chart
new
is 0
president.
degree Aquarius. Let's do it.
You have a new president.
Got a new president, Jen Dark. Yep.
Nice.
Got a board member that you saw, Barry.
That's exciting. Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, thanks so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Good luck with everything. Let me know if you want to check in to do any other interviews. Hi again, Lisa, at any point.
Yeah.
And,
I'll let you know, Chris. Chris,
okay.
Listen, I know we're doing this online, dude. Gotta see you in person.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the big thing. I know you're not here, but I gotta come see you soon because in the end, that's what really matters, right? I gotta read your body language. You gotta read my body language. Our senses need to be engaged with each other. Gotta feel the wind, you know what I mean? And talk about life. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Let's meet up in Denver. I'm going to have you come out here to Denver next time, and then, yeah, we'll hang out in person.
Yeah, brother. All right, man.
All right. Take care.
See you, everybody.
All right. That was wild. That was amazing. So this is impromptu. I didn't plan this out very well. I did check and see if I could like patch people in through Zoom right before I started this live stream, but I otherwise didn't have a plan for this. But this is, yeah, I guess I should tell people who came in late. So this is a live stream for the Northwest Astrology Conference, which is taking place this weekend. It's just getting started today in Seattle, Washington. There's about 300 to 400 people who are attending in person at the conference hotel in Seattle, but then they're also streaming the conference online. So you can actually still buy tickets right now if you go to the NORWAC website, which is at norwac.net. And if you go there, you can buy an online ticket to attend the conference virtually, which is what I'm going to be doing this weekend and checking out some lectures. If you do sign up for NORWAC, let them know in the comments box when you register that you heard about it on the Astrology Podcast live stream. But yeah, this is a bit of an experiment. I'm not able to attend in person this year due to health issues, but I am going to attend online. So I thought it would be fun to do a little bit of a live stream and have a live chat with the community while I'm doing that, and maybe do some interviews or other things like that. So we just did a whole tour of the Astrology bookstore. I just ended up buying 3 books, which now that I think about it, I don't actually know how much I'm paying for those 3 very old, obscure astrology books. I'll have to check in with Greg later and find out how much that's going to set me back, but I'm sure it'll be worth it because both of those titles looked amazing. Let me check out the comments so far. All right, it's the first time. Yeah, so Vandana says it's the first time I saw NORWAC from the inside. Yeah, it's like a rare treat for us to like see inside the hotel if you haven't been there, and it can also be a nice little preview to give you an idea of what it's like. Capacity reach. Yeah, I thought it would be good to get the word out about the conference because a lot of people, I've advertised the conference and let people know about it over the past year, but it's one thing to hear that there's like a conference taking place a year from now. It's another thing to know that it's like happening right now and there's a bunch of astrologers meeting up. So I thought it would be fun. And also, since I can't attend in person, fun to connect with some other people that are attending, hear what lectures are happening and what people are enjoying in terms of what talks they've seen, I'm hoping. And yeah, just maybe talk with some different attendees during the course of this, and we'll see what happens. All right. So how many people do we have here? We've got about 272 people joining us live. I think I'm gonna walk away for just a moment to get a drink, but I'll be back in just a minute. So give me just a second. All right, I am back. How is the live chat going? Yes, hydration break, very important. Yeah, there were a lot of older astrology books that reminded me of as well and brought me back to Sonia. A lot of books from the 80s and 70s that are like staples, but and that you used to go to a bookstore of like a bookstore, and they'd have like a few shelves of astrology books, and there was always those staple core books that every bookstore would have, like Planets in Transit, some Liz Green books, etc. But nowadays, things are a lot different, and the astrology sections have shrunk, and then they don't always have like the classics necessarily, but instead sometimes they'll just have whatever the latest books are that have come out by the 2 or 3 big companies that still publish books. Somebody said no audio. Is that true? Are you able to hear my audio currently? Let me look through the other comments. We can hear you. Okay, good. All right. Let's see some of the other comments. Somebody says, Chris, tell us about your upcoming course. Thank you for asking that question. So this month I'm actually running a discount. So I never run discounts on my Hellenistic astrology course pretty much ever. But this month I'm actually doing that with a 15% discount on my Hellenistic course when you use the promo code Mercury. So my Hellenistic course is the main one that I teach, where I teach people how to read birth charts. And I do that using ancient astrology and the original system of Western astrology that deals with planets, signs, houses, and aspects. So I take people from basic concepts up through intermediate and advanced techniques for reading birth charts. And I'm pretty excited because we just did a live chart reading session with students of the course. Here's the link. We just did a live chart reading session with students of the course last weekend, where we got together as a group, and students shared their charts when they had good examples of the placement of the rulers of the houses in different houses. And then I would sit down and do a little mini chart reading with them, where we talked through their life and talked through that placement and heard about how it worked out in their life. And it really, for that section, that sort of workshop really helped to bring the chart examples alive. And I'm pretty excited about doing more of those in the future, especially this summer. So that's one of the reasons I'm running this 15% discount on my course, which you can get by using the promo code Mercury. So you can find out more information about the course at theastrologyschool.com, and it has over 100 hours of video lectures. It's good for especially beginner and intermediate students, because I take people from basics up through advanced stuff. But even if you're an advanced astrologer, there's something there as well, because I deal with really in-depth treatments of complex techniques like zodiac releasing and annual perfections. All right. Thanks for mentioning that. Thanks for the reminder. I meant to mention that. All right. Yeah, the promo code is Mercury. Maybe I should put that in a link here in the description, just where people can find out more information. And I actually put out a little promo video where I describe the course. But here is the link. And then 15% discount with promo code Mercury. Sam asks, how long is the course? The course, it has 13 sections. I start with like the history, then the philosophy, then there's a section on planets, then a section on signs, houses, aspects. Then I get into intermediate concepts like the ruler of the ascendant, the ruler of the houses, and planetary condition. And then eventually I get into more complicated ancient techniques like the lot of fortune, triplicity rulers, and then annual perfections and zodiac releasing. So the core of the course is based around a series of pre-recorded lectures, and there's about 100 hours of lectures in the core lectures, besides other supplemental material. So because it's self-paced, it really just depends on how long it takes you to get through that. And time frames at this point for most students before they take the final test seem to range between 6 months to a year, to really go through the course and soak everything up, because I keep additionally adding new workshops and recordings, and we also do monthly workshops with students each month and Q&A sessions. So I would say 6 months to a year. Yeah, so 15% is a pretty big discount from the normal price of the course. So definitely take advantage of it, just because I don't usually do sales like this. Tiamat asks, what's the best resource to get down synthesis of topics? That's something I really deal with in the last third of the course. There's a sequence of 3 sections of the course on the ruler of the ascendant, rulers of the houses, and then especially the bonification and maltreatment conditions. And that's where you really learn chart synthesis, because chart synthesis is about seeing how different parts of the chart interact and how different parts of the chart affect other parts of the chart, so that you can bring it together to create a unified whole. And that's really what that part is about. And I do that right before I go into timing techniques, because you really need to know chart synthesis before you go into trying to predict when certain things will happen in a person's future. All right. What are some other comments going on here? So is anybody attending the conference live this weekend, or getting ready to attend any talks? Or actually, I'm curious if anybody here attended Austin's workshop. Austin just did what sounded like it was going to be a really amazing workshop yesterday. It was like a full day pre-conference workshop. I think that was on Marsilio Ficino and his system of astrological magic. And Ficino, I've been meaning to do an episode on Ficino for years now, because he was one of the more interesting Renaissance astrologers, because he was like a astrologer and magician, but also like a philosopher and translator who translated both all of the works of Plato, but also translated the Corpus Hermeticum, which is very important for ancient astrology. So I'll have to talk to Austin or somebody about doing an episode on him at some point. All right. What are some of the other comments? Yeah, Ficino was a fellow Aquarius rising. That's one of the reasons I really like his work, is one of his texts was really dedicated towards explaining how he offsets some of the negative things that are associated with his Saturnian temperament. And that's something I could use some help with sometimes, with the Aquarius rising and the excess Saturn archetype stuff. Do the episode with Austin. Yeah, I might have to. I'd been trying to figure out who to do that episode with for a while, but it sounds like Austin's has gotten really into Ficino, so he might be the guy. Although I know that there's some scholars that have dedicated entire like PhD theses to Ficino, so I'll have to look around and make a good choice. All right. RAs says they missed that workshop, unfortunately. One of the good things about the conference is that you can still purchase workshops or the recordings to listen to afterwards. So that's one of the cool things I'm happy about, especially attending online, is even if I miss a talk, I can go back and listen to the recording afterwards for a while. Eleanor asks, when is Austin back? Austin's actually going to be joining me for the next forecast episode. He is back. He's emerged from his major eclipse changes that have been going on in his life with welcoming a new member of his family, and he's speaking at NORWAC, and as soon as he gets back from NORWAC, I think 1 or 2 days later, we're going to record the next forecast episode together. So I'm pretty excited to have him back, and I've got to catch him up on a lot of world events because he was kind of checked out for a while, but there's a lot of cool astrology that happened while he was gone. Will I ever consider doing birth chart readings again? I actually I just did a consultation yesterday, and it was one of the first ones I did in a while, because I did that chart reading workshop first with students of the Hellenistic course, where we did those mini readings for 2 hours. And then that made me so excited that I did one of those live chart reading sessions with patrons of the Astrology Podcast just, what was it, 2 days ago, where we sat down and did mini chart readings for 2 hours really quickly. And that was a lot of fun, and I had a good time doing that. And one of the people, so I think I'm gonna release that as an episode of the Astrology Podcast, actually, but I think I'm gonna do more live chart reading type sessions like that, specifically with patrons of the Astrology Podcast who are on the live stream tier, as like one of the benefits of supporting the Astrology Podcast through my page on Patreon. And yeah, I'm actually pretty excited about that, though, because it opened up a whole new like area of doing episodes, I think, that could be really good for the future, where I did that episode last month, or this month, earlier this month, on how to do an astrological consultation, but it was more like the theory and some of the things around the practice of doing astrology that come up. And I think it's important to put like the other side of that now, which is what does it look like to actually do a consultation and sit down with somebody, and what does it look like to apply the techniques in a live consultation setting, even if it's a quick one that's just happening with no preparation, and you're just doing it for 5 or 10 minutes. What can you say about a person's chart in that time? So I'm excited to do more live reading episodes like that, and then I'm definitely going to make that available for patrons. And then I'm thinking, if that goes well, I might open that up and actually do that with other astrologers, where I could bring in other astrologers in live streams in order to read charts with a guest or with a client together, in order to show off how different astrologers look at charts differently, or sometimes the same way, but oftentimes it ends up being complementary. And I think it might be a good way to show off different traditions of astrology and different approaches to astrology in terms of like what they actually do and what their practice actually looks like. So it would be cool to have like a Hellenistic and a Vedic chart reading happening at the same time, for example, and to go back and forth between those two. So that's something I'm thinking about. I'm still workshopping that idea and exactly how it'll work out, but I think it has promise. So if that's something people would like to see, let me know. So I'm not taking new clients at the moment. I will read some charts of patrons in that context, and the only exception is that I am interested personally in like reading celebrity charts, and occasionally if there's like a interesting celebrity, and if they're willing to like pay enough that it's actually like worth my time rather than recording a podcast or recording a workshop, then I'm sometimes willing to make an exception out of interest of like reading a prominent person's chart or something like that. But I don't really have with the podcast, I do 4 episodes a month, and I do 2 episodes at least for patrons. So that's 6 episodes a month, and it's just a lot of work and energy and expenditure. So I don't have a lot of time excess left over for doing client work. So I might rebalance that at some point in the future, but for now I'm not taking individual clients. The only way I'll be reading charts is just through these live chart reading sessions that so far I think are just going to be with either patrons or with students of my Hellenistic course. All right. So let me see what the NORWAC schedule looks like and where we're at currently. So let me share the screen. All right, so NORWAC, it looks like it's at 2:30. What is that? 2:30 Pacific time. Okay, so we're right in the middle of other lectures right now that are happening. I might want to go in and check some of those out, and then they're doing a break, and some people are joining or doing Q&As for people that are attending the live virtual conference. And then after that, we've got another round of lectures at 4:15 p.m. 4:15 p.m. So that's 5:15 here in Denver, and then a few lectures later tonight. All right, cool. Well, let me see the live chat. Which celebrity would you like to read? That's a good question. Who would be... I'm trying to think of a celebrity chart that I don't have. There's a lot of celebrities I wish we had a birth time for, but we don't. A lot of celebrities that we don't have birth time for. I'm drawing a blank right now, but I'm sure there's plenty that I'm curious about. There's often people in the news that I wish we had birth time for, but usually we don't. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some musicians and like rappers that are people I wish we had birth charts for. Let me see some of the other comments. All right, awesome, cool. Thanks to Swede for signing up for my course. I'm excited to have you in it. For those who are just getting here, I was doing a little NORWAC live stream where there's the biggest astrology conference of the year is happening right now in Seattle, and you can still attend online virtually because they're streaming all of the lectures online. If you go to norwac.net and sign up, if you do sign up, let them know that you heard about it from the Astrology Podcast live stream. And these are some of the speakers that are speaking at the conference or giving workshops over the course of this weekend. And they just started, I think they're just starting their first round of lectures right now. All right. Let me check out some of the other comments. Somebody asks, what happens when you yourself cannot tackle a particular person who is perhaps too strong in an element or adversary to yourself? If you do a reading, do you factor that in as a tool? Sure. I mean, the synastry certainly comes up when you do different readings to different people, and there's different readings that are going to go better or worse, and that just like normal in terms of people in your normal everyday life, there's different people that you immediately get along with better, and there's other people where, not even due to anything that's the fault of either of you, sometimes you just don't click as well, and sometimes that happens in consultations as well, but you still just do your best to, you know, always bring the same service and like be the best astrologer you can, even when that happens. All right, a book on synastry and composite charts. There's honestly not a lot of good books on synastry. You know, John Townley and Rob Hand's books on composite charts are the two classics. I don't know if there's better ones at this point in time, but both of those are pretty sufficient. Synastry, I wish there were more books on though, and I'm sort of surprised there's not, even though I know there are some out there. Definitely when I first got into astrology, there's only like 1 or 2 books on synastry, and they weren't super amazing, but maybe things have changed since that time, and I'm just not aware. Nice. Laurentio does live birth chart readings on TikToks and learned to read from me. Thanks, I'm glad to hear that. Are you the astrologer from Romania where we've read your chart in the Hellenistic course before? I think I recognize your name. Nice. I'm glad to hear, Amber Lee, that you signed up for the Zodiac releasing class. Yeah, it really is a great technique. I just did a full consultation yesterday with a patron who works in the film industry, and we really focused on her zodiac releasing periods, and she's working on a lot of great stuff. in terms of becoming a writer director and working on some pretty famous movies and with some pretty prominent actors and people in Hollywood. And it was cool applying the technique to her chart and seeing that she has just these amazing career periods in the future. And it's always fun to see that in somebody's life ahead of time before it's happened, but where the trajectory is clear and the zodiac releasing periods are being very explicit that they're headed towards becoming very eminent in the future in their chosen career field. So I recorded that, and part of the deal of doing that consultation was that I could release that as a reading in order to demonstrate to students in my Hellenistic course how I do a zodiac releasing consultation. So I'll be editing that and posting it as part of my Hellenistic course here pretty soon in the zodiac releasing section, just to show people. Okay, awesome. Laurentio, you are the person. Great. So yeah, I've read your chart a few times in the Hellenistic course. You're a very good astrologer. That's great to hear that you're doing live readings on TikTok. That's really smart. I need to get into TikTok, and I need to especially experiment with doing more live streams there, because it seems like that's a really good place to be. Diane says an astrologer panel reading live stream would be great. Yeah, I think it'll be just 2 people if I do it, because I think it could get kind of crazy if it's more than that. But, you know, doing a live stream like that and showing off different astrologers, I think could be really good. All right. Vandana's looking at some of the different lectures that are available this weekend from Tara All, Austin, and a few other people. There's definitely some really good ones. I have not thought about doing an episode on Lilith. I almost did. There was one astrologer who specialized in that, but I think I asked about it, but we didn't end up doing it. But maybe someday. Yeah, there aren't really any books on zodiac releasing. There's just Vedius Valens, the anthology, which I published a translation of that a year or 2 ago by Mark Riley, and he deals with zodiac releasing in book 4, chapters 4 through 10. Is that right? Yeah, 4 through 10. And then I have a chapter on zodiac releasing in the final chapter of my book. As far as I know, those are the only 2 published, written books that deal with zodiac releasing at this point in time. But even in that chapter, it's such a long book that I only kind of briefly outline and sketch out the technique and use some chart examples. In order to really give the full treatment of it, I actually have an 18-hour workshop as part of my Hellenistic course. That's the very last section of the course, because it kind of represents the culmination of all of the different techniques and basic concepts and other principles in Hellenistic astrology that sort of culminates with this one very complex Time Lord technique that can do some really amazing things, but it takes a little while to build up to that, just because you need to know all the prerequisite concepts first, which includes rulerships and sect and bonification and maltreatment conditions and the lot of fortune and spirit, and what the rationale is for their calculations and why they mean what they mean. And then eventually you get to the Time Lord techniques and to zodiac releasing. So zodiac releasing is a Time Lord technique. If you do a search for it, you'll find a couple videos on my YouTube channel where I have one short introductory video and then one longer video talking about that. All right, so I think that might be good for now. I think I'm gonna take a break from the live stream and get some lunch and sort of take a breath and rehydrate, and because also I wanted to let people attend whatever lectures they're going to be attending during the course of this, and I want to attend some myself. So I may come on again later tonight to do another live stream, especially if I find any other people to do interviews or something like that. But in the meantime, for people that are not signed up, I would strongly recommend signing up. All you have to do is go to the website, which is norwac.net, and you can still buy a ticket to attend the conference online virtually. and then you get access to watch the lectures live through Zoom. So if you do sign up, let them know that you heard about it on the Astrology Podcast live stream. I'll be attending some lectures, and yeah, I may come back later to sort of do some more live stream stuff and talk about some lectures I've seen, or maybe interview some people if possible. So hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, and it's a good idea to hit the bell icon next to the subscribe button, because I think if you do that, then it'll let you know, it'll send you a notification when I'm live again. So I don't have specific times for that. I'll have to just feel things out and see how things go this evening, but I'll definitely send out a notification to my patrons through Patreon when I go live again later tonight. And then if you hit the bell icon, then you'll get a notification from YouTube when I'm live as well. So how long have we been going? We've been going for 2 hours. So thanks everyone for joining me for this experiment. That was a fun live stream where we ended up looking at the bookstore for NORWAC and also looking around the hotel a little bit. It was cool getting that tour with Nicholas around the bookstore and seeing some different astrology books and just giving you an idea of one of the coolest parts of the conference, which is that bookstore, and having access to all of those titles all at once, which is an experience that I know most of us don't have, because usually in most cities you don't have bookstores that are that big, that have that many astrology titles. But it was cool that Greg Nalbandian announced that he's actually going to be bringing back a physical astrology bookstore again in Seattle next year. So that was actually, I didn't know that, and that was a pretty big announcement, so that was exciting to hear. Just looking at the comments. All right, yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me in this live stream experiment today. Yeah, I hope everyone attends some lectures and enjoys the conference, and I'll be back again at some point to maybe talk about some more stuff later. So I think that's it. So thanks everyone for joining me, and yeah, I'll see you again next time.